So here we are. It's Ned and Jerome going over the renderings of the St. Faustina Parish Church. We just finished some coffees, or I'm still drinking my coffee.
Yeah, so am I.
So we're all hyped up about this new building, and we'd like to share some thoughts with you. Go ahead, Ned.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take you with a little bit of site overview and history, and then we'll get into the renderings themselves. So as you may remember, the building is located between Highway 174 and the Old Montreal Road, quite near where the museum is, just across the road actually. And this gives you an overview of the site. It shows you the building is actually located a little bit more towards Highway 174, and it's orientated east-west, so the sanctuary itself is facing towards the east, and the chapel is entered from the west, and the parking lot sits in front of the church. So this is actually a view of the ground floor or the basement. It shows the actual layout of the hall in the blue color, and the entrance spaces and storage spaces surrounding that, including washrooms. Then you can see the stairs that go up to the main floor where the sanctuary is, and that's in the next slide, which shows you the sanctuary. Now here we have the main part of the church. It is for 450 seats, and it allows you the entrance, which is on the south side, so you can see the little automobile that sits in the portico.
Oh yeah.
And then the entrance through to the main foyer spaces. To the right or to the east is the sanctuary, and the altar is further down, of course, and then to the left is the area that shows where the chapel will be, and meeting spaces and washrooms. The next slide gives you a slice through the church at the altar area, so you get a chance to see what the altar spaces look like, and the area below, which is the main hall section. Here's another slice through. It shows you the ossuary in the basement, and as well the altar spaces viewed from the entrance to the church, so you're getting a view towards the main altar space. Here's some elevations. The one on the top shows the elevation of the front of the church with the entrance area to the left, and then each of the slides below shows you the entrance to the chapel, and the right hand slide shows you the back of the church and the entrance to the ossuary. But all of that can be altered. This is an attempt to try and give you an overview at this point in time.
Nice. So now we're going to the parking lot.
Right. So
we're going to the church.
The church. These are 3D renderings, which are made up to give you a sense of the feel of the church. And this is the main entrance, which comes off again Old Montreal Road. And as you drive down the main entrance, you can see to the left-hand side the portico, and that big arch sits over one of the interior chapels that is inside the main area of the church.
It's going to look beautiful.
It is, yes. And the main entrance spaces are accessed from the portico, which is an all-weather portico that you can use as crush space, of course, for the people to gather, and as you go into the protected area internally. And then we get into the main foyer spaces.
Some people call this the narthex.
I think it is called the narthex, yeah.
So it's got a lot of space, and you can spread out and have a chit-chat.
This is the meeting space where you can actually sit and have a conversation and not be in the sanctuary itself.
So now we're going into the church?
Right. And then we look towards the sanctuary, and you get a sense of the vaulting and the way that the space is set up. You can see the use of wood here, and the use of wood in the arches, and the way we've created the space. It was a reflection of not only the concept which the parishioners like in the existing church, but also is an attempt to try and use wood as a mechanism to get to a net zero environmental impact for the church, but also with the possible use in the future of solar collectors on the roof. So the orientation and the layout and the design is all trying to play into a net zero impact on the environment.
Great. So now we're looking at a side altar, or?
Yes, so there's two of them, one on either side of the main altar. One will be for Saint Faustina, of course,
Divine Mercy,
and the other one will be for Saint Edith Stein and Saint Margaret Mary. So
okay.
It's an attempt to try and not only reflect our history but also our future.
Exactly. And this is the main altar right here.
Yes, main sanctuary space. It's a really, really nice looking.
And clean spot. Yeah,
it is very nice. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. And we're back into the church here, and we're heading out, I guess.
Yeah. So this is a reverse view. So you're looking back towards the back of the church, and then you exit through the main entrance doors into the foyer spaces again. And so this gives you a shot of the doors that go into the basement space. So you go down a set of stairs, and there will be an elevator as well for the handicap. And then we get into the office space environments as well.
So we got 4 different images here of the office. Now this is on the main floor.
This is on the main floor.
Main floor. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And there's a little meeting space for Father in there as well.
Oh, great.
This takes the view from the east looking west. This is where the Corzeju Chapel will be. And this shows you the main entrance to it and the access spaces just before you walk in the chapel. And this gets a little closer, and then we walk through the doors to the chapel, and you end up getting a view of the interior of the chapel. And it is a self-contained space, including a separate washroom, which is just to the left-hand side. And it allows access for about 25 parishioners at a time. Then we get the reverse view. It gives you a sense of the vaulting and the space as well.
So now we're going downstairs.
Correct. We're going into the basement space, and it gives you a sense of walking downstairs into the foyer spaces and storage areas and mechanicals that will be down here. And then you walk through doors into the actual space for the meeting area or for the...
Wow, that looks like a big hall.
It is, but it reflects the size of the church.
So how many people do you think we can get in the hall?
That's a good question. It's designed to reflect the 450 that we have space available in the church itself. We wouldn't want much more than that in any case.
Okay, so then you have some meeting rooms.
Meeting rooms back there to allow for space for the Knights of Columbus and whatever...
CWL.
Right. Whatever other spaces are needed. And then we have the reverse view from the church now, from where the chapel is, back towards the east looking west, and this is where the entrance to the ossuary is. Now the ossuary is in the basement space, and so there are stairs down.
So for people who don't know what an ossuary is, it's a place where you can put cremated remains of your loved ones.
Exactly. It's open, it's a secure space, but it's open to those residents who
purchase a spot, or like a resting place.
A resting place.
For your family's ashes. And it looks like you have plaques on, like, marble or whatever. You could probably have inscribed the family name on that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, and it's an intention to try and make sure that there's a secure space, and you can access it 24/7, and ability to go in anytime you wish.
That's really quite nice. I kind of like that idea.
Yeah, me too. So then we go back to the outside again, and this is another view of that same ossuary entrance. And of course, this is architecturally view from the very back, looking towards Old Montreal Road from 174. And again, a view from the front, a little bit more of the parking lot area, and some of the landscape spaces that are envisaged by the architect.
How many parking lot spots do you think you'll have?
Enough to reflect 450. I think actually it's around 285, if my memory serves me correct.
That should be good, yeah, because most people are coming by twos anyway, at least, or more. Yeah, a great space to hold, yard sales and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Later on, we're trying to do some fundraisers because we'll need some fundraisers in order to build this thing.
No question about that.
Well, I think this pretty much wraps up the renderings that we wanted to show you today. We want to thank you very much, Ned, for walking us through all this.
Well, it's going to be an interesting experience. We're going to try and put everything together. It's going to be at least a 2-year process before we get even close to being able to say that we can build. And of course, it's all going to depend upon the fundraising. So. But at least we're pretty far along in the conceptual part of it anyways.
That looks great. Well, hang in there, folks, and we hope to bring you more news as time rolls on.
Exactly.
Yeah, thanks so much. Take care.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.